OK. Much of a handicap? Let's talk about the Carabao Cup itself. Manchester City against Arsenal on Sunday. First trophy you can win in the season, so in many ways that gives it a fair amount of importance. But if you look at these two particular clubs, obviously the quadruple is off for Manchester City now. Does that mean that because they're out of the FA Cup, that the Carabao Cup has slightly more importance?
Well, they've still got every chance to win the treble, which is going to be an amazing season. We go back to '99. When Manchester United won the treble, you know, got every chance of doing that, Man City. So a little bit different because different trophies. FA Cup was involved for Manchester United and not the League Cup. But yeah, of course, it's a big. Every trophy is a big trophy. You know, at the end of your career, people ask you, what did you win? They don't ask you how much money you earn. You say, what did you win as a player? So every single player wants another a medal in their cabinet, and whether it's the League Cup, it's probably not the one they really want. But it's still another honour that you can always say you've won the competition. And Arsene Wenger's not won this competition yet either. So this might be a little bit more of a...
Would you rather win the treble with the English League, the FA and the League Cup, or Champions League in the league? I know what I'd like to go for. Instead of being called treble winners, I'd like to go for the Champions League and win the league at the same time.
Well, Pochettino's made it very clear. He only sees the two serious competitions. He's not interested in...
What, not the FA Cup?
Nope.
Oh, it's a special trophy, the FA Cup.
Not as much now, Ray, for these players. I think it's for us that have been hanging about this country forever and we could only watch one big game in the build-up for it. That's gone. The game's now changed. These guys... Champions League is a way above...
Probably domestically
it's a way above...
It's still the biggest trophy.
It's a way above international football. Premier League, English Premier League, is a way above international football now. The importance now is with the two competitions. Then it might be international football after that.
In terms of standard or importance?
Importance to players and to fans as well, I think.
I think it's how you used to view it as well. I think the FA Cup final was always a live game, wasn't it? Back in the year, many years ago, the only live game. So
that was the whole build-up.
Build-up was superb.
See, the build-up was good, but you get this with Sky all the time now.
For every
the build-up for Chelsea Man United game will be bigger than anything we had for a cup final going away back. That's where the importance is now.
Well, the build-up for the Carabao Cup just before it will be equally sizable.
And I think it's got to be a great game. The reason being a great game, I think, is because the two managers can go and pick their best sides, play the best football. Unless there's a real drubbing for one side or the other, I think both managers can walk away and go, right, let's go on with the rest of the season now.
So no... When you say
I don't think there'll be any repercussions to managers.
No.
I think you have two managers with a philosophy of playing that wonderful football. Both will want to... And Arsene will want to show his wonderful football is as good as Pep's wonderful football. And I think it's going to be a wonderful game. I honestly think it's going to be a great game of football.
You think less in terms of discipline? More...
Well, there'll be discipline in it.
Yeah,
there'll be discipline in it.
They're not gung-ho, but...
Yeah. Listen, we watched the game tonight with Seville and Manchester United. Very disciplined. I think... There is a discipline. You don't just throw players out there and hope for the best. That doesn't work. There will be a discipline to a certain amount, but there'll be players free-flowing and going to different areas. Players who will express themselves a bit more, because the consequences tonight of making a big mistake, you know, will be, we're out the Champions League, you know. But, well, we've got the cup final, let's go for it. And you say to players, right, in a cup final you say, this is it. You determine how the game's got to go. You determine how you've got to win the game. Don't wait for it. Don't wait for the game. You go and grab the game. I think that's what the two managers will be saying. Yeah,
you know how they're going to set up anyway. You know Arsene Wenger's very attack-minded, and you know Guardiola. But you know, off the ball, Guardiola's side do work hard as well. If you watch how they press and win the ball back in good areas, they've been the best team by a mile this season. We know that, and it's going to be a tough game for Arsenal. But they've done it last season, so who knows if they can do it again at Wembley.
You say that. Guardiola's record in finals is... Well, it's just frightening for the opposition. I mean, have a look at this. Look, I mean, it's outrageous.
Unbelievable. I mean, he's a top manager. We know what
his favourite colour's green.
I think he's... I don't know. I think he's on that training field every day and he drills them players. You know, look at what he's done for De Bruyne, Sterling. All these sort of players have really improved under Guardiola. But that is a scary record. I'm sure Arsene Wenger will be looking at it and going, wow, this is going to be a difficult
But that's a good
game.
challenge for Arsenal now.
Yeah.
Gordon, what stands out for you in 2011 against Manchester United?
I've no idea. You need to tell me.
It's the last time Pep conceded a goal in a final.
Well, to be fair, he's had some decent clubs. It's not like he's taken, you know.
Yeah. He's not taken Lincoln, has he?
No, he's not went with a team that's 8th or 9th. He's always had the best, and deserves the best players because his reputation's built up.
But Ray mentioned.
Would you say he's more of a coach than a manager?
I think he's both. I think he's got everything in his locker. I think the way he
I look at
talks to
Jose,
players,
and I think he's more of a manager than he is probably the coach on that training.
To be
field.
fair, there's no much coaching time for players now. To be fair, Ray, I think you've got to do. I don't think there's hours you can spend with players at this time of the season. And if people tell me that they don't, they come in and they rest, they're taking over. I think they'll maybe do an analysis on the board, have a look at this. But the work has been done pre-season and built up. But also, when you're playing with great players, you go, listen, go and try that. I don't think you have to move them about for hours and hours. No. With a Leicester player, you've actually got to take them, go there. I remember with the guy Nakamura played at Celtic. Genius. Couldn't speak a word of English, but if he said, have a think about that, he'd go in and do it. Just, he could see it early because he was a great player. Other players, ordinary, had to say, excuse me, I'll need to take you here. And see, with like Discus, go and stand there every now and then. But with the great players, I think you can say, here, move about there, try that, think about that. And I think with the great players, and also playing with great players makes you better.
Makes you better, absolutely.
Well, we looked at Pep Guardiola's records in finals. Let's have a look at Arsenal.
We don't really want to see this one, do we?
Because you mentioned the winner. I mean, how much hope will they have from winning? I mean, let's be honest. Against Chelsea last year, Chelsea were huge favourites. Nobody gave Arsenal a prayer. And that, in many ways...
Well, they beat Man City in the semi-final as well at Wembley. So, you know, they beat two big sides last year. They've got a decent record. I mean, I remember the whole game being down and they got back. I think Cazorla got the goal, didn't he? And Aston Villa. But you look at the three before that, and it was the League Cup, Birmingham. I was at that game at Wembley, and Chelsea, where they've struggled. So, yeah, I mean, that will stand them in good stead, really, by beating Man City in the semi-final and beating Chelsea in that final.
And when we were chatting in the office earlier on, you picked a combined 11 for Sunday. And I think we've got to take a look at your combined 11. It was basically the Manchester City team.
I mean, it was difficult to get any Arsenal player, wasn't it, to be honest with you?
I'm joking, I haven't put up a graphic.
No, we haven't. we moved on to the Man United being Chelsea. It was a little bit easier, that one. But, yeah, Man City are a fantastic side. I mean, I love watching them play. The likes of De Bruyne, Silva, what a player he is. And look at the depth they've got in the squad. I mean, I'm sure... Gordon would look at that and say, wish I was a manager of that side, because just go out and play.
Joking aside then, and for you as well, Gordon, would not a single Arsenal player get in the Manchester City team right now?
If you look at it, I mean, if you go through the back four, I think it'd be difficult. I'm looking at the full-backs, Walker, you'll have him in your side, and the two centre-halves, Koscielny maybe be the only one really who could get in there. Could you have an argument, Jack Wilshere? Probably not. Because Fernandinho has a magnificent season so far.
He's a
De Bruyne,
he's
done so well for
giant.
him. He's done so well for him. I think he's the unsung hero.
Do you remember at Manchester United, they come under a wee bit of pressure near the end of the game? He went and sat in front of the centre-halves and just kept heading the ball away as well. When Man United went direct, he can do everything.
People forget about players like that. I mean, we had a player in our unbeaten side when we played, and he was very much went through the game. Didn't really notice him a lot, but he was always in the right place at the right time. Gilberto Silva.
Oh, you didn't name him?
Gilberto Silva was always in the right place at the right time, and he just read the game.
He read the invisible game so wall, they used to call him, didn't
Absolutely, and Fernandinho does that for Manchester City, and that's why the guys in front of him get that platform to go forward, because of Fernandinho. Look, they work hard as well when they lose the ball to win it back. But he's been magnificent for them this year.
They're enjoying themselves in the work, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're enjoying themselves.
Does that come across to you?
Yeah, they're enjoying working hard. Working hard.
You can see Guardiola as well, drilling them, you know, in that technical area.
To be fair, it's actually... What they do is, because they have so much of the ball, they end up, when they're attacking, have about 8 players run where the ball is when they're attacking. So when they lose the ball, there's 8 of them going for it.
Yeah.
Or 7. They all go in the one corner and go for it. Most of us only attack with 3, 4 or 5. They've got 7 or 8 up there. So when the ball breaks, they have 8 and just go... Whoosh, and they have no fear of what's behind them. They're quite wanting to win the ball back there.
I think Edison could be a playmaker as well.
By the way, to be
in midfield.
He said...
By the way, you need to be really fit to do that, because some players who are not really fit will go, I can't close down, because if I start closing down and use my energy to close down, when I get the ball back, my technical ability is not that good. We all know that. If you work hard, your technical ability would go down if you're not fit. And that's why some players are scared to go and close down
Yeah.
in case they lose that technical. The modern player has to have the ability and strength and physique to go and close down and still have the ability when they win back to go and play.
Where is their weaknesses, Manchester City? Have they got a weakness, or
Maybe their youth team.
Is it
Because they don't play many of them.
Is it the centre halves? You get at the centre halves, you see.
It's getting there.
The full-backs are bombing on a lot. There is gaps there sometimes.
Funny enough, I've seen some teams have had a go at them and nearly got away with it. You need to be you need to be lucky at times, and you need to be brave at times. I think Burnley went in the physical route and saying, "Listen, we're not playing you at this game. We'll play our game." And it's very hard when the ball for them to counter-attack if the ball's going from back to front.
So for you, if you're in Arsene Wenger's shoes on Sunday, take the game to them.
Of course I would. In the cup final, yeah, I wouldn't go gung-ho at the beginning.
No.
I wouldn't go, but get after them. Let's see it.
In a disciplined
Let's
fashion,
go and find out how good they. Let's go
on.
and find out how good they are on the day. Let's see if we can nick something on the day.
I think it's amazing enough is that the way they've had a real tough game is against not the Premier League sides.
No, Bristol City.
Bristol City, they had a real tough game. Wolves as well played really well against them, and
But
obviously Wigan.
Teams with no fear, but it's in the cup tie. It's teams with no fear, and this is the cup tie. And what you have to do is, I would say, close them down in the last third. But don't try and close them down in the middle third, because they'll pick you off and go for you when you're back. Yeah, go back. That third in there, can we get them? If we can't, we'll go back to the last third and sit in there. Don't try and catch them out in the middle third, because I think they can play around you. And because when you're if you try to get them into the middle third, your back four will be up, and that's when they're going to go back.
It's going to be interesting to see what Arsene Wenger does in midfield, because he's played Wilshere in there with Xhaka, but against Spurs away at Wembley, he played El Neni in there as well, which is a bit more defensive-minded. So whether he looks at that area is going to be the key with De Bruyne.
Who would be the natural holding midfield player for Arsenal?
I don't think they've got one. They haven't got one. That's been their big problem. I mean, Xhaka has tried to play it, but he's not that sort of player. He doesn't read the game so well. I mean, you see some of the goals they've conceded against Swansea, against Bournemouth.
People running off the back.
Just not reading the game, where the ball's going to drop as a midfielder. You'd probably say Jack Wilshere, if anybody.
Could they win without a holding midfield player on Sunday, Arsenal? Would that worry you?
What? Everybody talks about having one holding midfield player. Why not have two midfield players? And one takes off, another one just sits. Whoever it is, it's just sits.
Well, that was the old-fashioned way.
That was the old-fashioned way. Matter of fact, Germany did it as well with Kadira and Schweinsteiger. Schweinsteiger used to run the ball up the pitch, and Kadira used to run without.
George Graham used to always say, you're like two pistons in that central midfield area. You know, one goes closed down, one drops off. He goes there, you drop top. It's a little bit like what Tony Adams done in the Granada when he was trying to shuffle across.
That'd be me.
That was George Graham.
Listen, there'll be two midfield players anyway. There'll be three midfielders, four midfield players all in there.
Well, let's just hope they both go for it anyway.